Hi everybody, it's Sunday, June 7th, and this is going to be a video with WIPs, foes, announcements, reading from the Deer Island Times, all kind of chitter chatter. But let's get to the admin. I want to say thank you to all the returning subbies. Thank you to the new subbies. Hope you enjoy the content and you'll come back to join me for who knows what installments. Island chats, tutorials, I can even officially say patterns, which will be discussed later on in the video. As you'll see, I'm in the same clothes because this is video. This is my third video since yesterday. So we will get started with the big announcement. As of tomorrow, my pattern, Proud as a Peacock, will be available on Ravelry for free. I will put all these links in the description box below. And I am in process of doing a tutorial for it, which will have to probably be in two parts. One part being the basic design, and then another tutorial with the decorative edge if you choose to put it on. And this will all be explained later in the video when I am discussing the pattern, which is now. Yeah, that's now. This is my pattern. This is Proud as a Peacock. It has been blocked. My version is in two colors: Winter White, Burnett Premium, and Burgundy. They're both number 4, and I did it with a J-hook, 6mm, and mine is basically a scarf that I did, but the pattern's written to, you can do it a blanket, a scarf. One of my testers did hers and made it a dresser scarf. So this is it. You can see the stitch. And I did mine in two colors. The basic design content of my pattern is that it is just a guide. You can make yourself a wrap. You can make yourself a blanket. I have somebody that wants to do a blanket in this pattern, and I'm just putting the finishing touches. You know, that's why it's going to be tomorrow before the pattern's released, because I'm just going over all the suggestions that were made by my testers and fine-tuning the pattern. But this will be the opening page to it. Proud as a Peacock. My official first pattern. So, a little bit of discussion about it. The basis for this pattern is I give you the multiple and, of course, the pattern for the stitch. What you do with it is up to you. What yarn you use, what hook you use, what you use it in. It's just like an outline for you. And my testers told me that they felt it was beginner friendly, and it was easy to read. That is my goal when I do a pattern, is I want it to be for beginners, advanced beginners. But the biggest part is I wanted it to be easily understood, so that if you've never read a pattern before, it would be like you and I sitting here having a crochet or knit night, talking you through how to do the pattern, but yet being able to learn how to read patterns. So if you're able to read my pattern, then maybe it's a stepping stone to you learning how to read other patterns. Because a lot of people don't read patterns. I didn't read patterns until 2 years ago. In fact, it's only been a year or more since I've been reading patterns. And I dove headfirst into some very difficult, intermediate, all the way up to advanced experienced patterns, and I had my trials with it. But talking to other people or researching on YouTube or blogs, little by little, I was able to learn how to read a pattern. And there's even some patterns that I come up on that I still have difficulty with. One, because designers all write differently. There are, you know, your basic abbreviations and guides, stitch guides and stuff that people usually include in their patterns. But excuse me. But part of it is how they put it together, how it's worded. I can go from one pattern designer to another pattern designer. They'll say the same thing, written two different ways. So that's part of the problem about learning to read a pattern. So that's what I'm trying to make it easier for you. I do mine in conversational style, I guess. And the only reason we use the abbreviations is because it's just so you don't get a 25-page pattern. I mean, I have a pattern I'm going to show you here later. I mean, we'll talk about it. This is the whole pattern. Okay, this pattern has charts and everything with it. This is a knitting pattern, but it's like, I think this was like 22 pages. So, you know, and again, it's long because of charts. But a lot of patterns have charts, especially if you're doing something with a graphing, or intarsia and stuff. It can make the pattern long. So if I am spelling out every, you know, single, double, half double crochet, treble crochet, and you're writing all that out in full words instead of an abbreviation, sometimes people will get exasperated and say, "Oh, I'm not even going to bother with this." So that's one reason why we use the abbreviations. Listen to me. I'm sounding like I'm some professional big-time designer. I'm not. This, like I said, is my first pattern, and my niche is going to be the beginner, advanced beginner. I've already got another design in my head that's going to be for Christmas gifts. So that is that's my pattern. And again, all of my designers, I will show you their pictures again. This is Wendy's. She did hers, and she is going to use it as a dresser scarf. This was Lorraine's that she did. This is Leah's. Let's see. You got Courtney's. Mary's. Darlene's. Barbara's. And Helen's. My lovely testers. They are wonderful. I'm hoping they'll test for me again when I have another pattern. So that is my big announcement. Also, I have a video uploading right now. I am going to participate, excuse me, in the Christmas in July fairies. So I put a video up. It's almost finished, about another 15 minutes, and it'll be uploaded. And it will give you all the details of how to enter into that. Next, if you remember a while back, oops, there goes my pattern. If you remember a while back, I had won a giveaway from Kelly from KO Crafts by Kelly. And in the box was a skein of the off the hook yarn from Lion Brand. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. Well, I just sat here this morning when I was uploading a video, and I just quickly put something together with it, just so you could see what it looks like. And the colorway was called Harmony. So this is what it came out. It actually goes this way because it's the knit stitch. Is that right? Yep, knit stitch. That's what it come out. You can see how big it is. I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to make a pillow cover for it from a craft room. It's very soft. It wasn't hard to do. They had a tutorial, and it just took a matter of 2 minutes. And, you know, you can, you know, if it's your jam. And it shows you how to finish it off. But this is the finished item. It is, like I said, it's very, very soft. It's different. You know, gives you a little bit of a break from your regular crocheting and knitting. But thank you, Kelly. I enjoyed something different. I'm not bothering doing a tutorial on this because there's too many tutorials already up on it. And it was just something I quickly put together. She had also sent me some of the crayons, little box with all the different colors. I haven't quite found the pattern I'm going to do with that yet, but it'll be something in the future. So that was another finished object. Now, I kind of gave you a tease on this one here. I had to wait till the pattern's released, and she released the pattern. And this is the Milady Admiral Cuffs by Lindsay Luchuk at Knit Eco Chick, and that's the cuffs. There was 2 versions that you could do it. One was with the drop stitch, one without the drop stitch, and you could add beads to it. I did it without the drop stitch because I was doing it and I just didn't like how it was coming out. So, I'm just putting them on now so you can see what they look like. And it's just a cuff. She did this in honor of all the frontline workers and their hands and what they were doing to help people during this pandemic we've had. And these is the finished product. If you look closely, you can see the butterfly. These are knit. It didn't take me long at all. It took me 2 evenings, 1 mitt each evening, and then I did the blocking took the longest because this is a cotton. This was 100% cotton I used. It was from Hobie, and it was their Cotton Kings pull skein. It's number 2, but that was my finished object, the mitts. The colorway was apricot. So this is going to tie in with the next thing that I'm going to show you, which is a future WIP, because this was inspired from the next pattern I'm going to show you. But it's a lovely pattern, and you have to go over it and check out. I'll put all this information in the description box, her information. I have tested for her before, and it's a lovely, I mean, her patterns are very delicate that she does. Okay, this here is called the Airbender Shawl. Now, I began testing this last year, and then had an incident with hurt my hand, and I was unable to proceed with the test. But Lindsay's, just like I said, is awesome. This is the shawl. If you can see it, it's called the Airbender. And if you look, you can see right through here the butterflies. It was inspiration for the Milady Admiral cuffs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make an airbender and a set of cuffs out of the same yarn as a set. Now, this here is an advanced, I'd say intermediate to advanced knitter pattern. There is a lot of, you know, cabling and stuff that goes on here. But I'll put this all, here's some more pictures of it. There she's spread out. And there you can see some of the detail on it. And there's the edging. It's an absolutely stunning shawl. Absolutely stunning. And I mean, it is, I think it, yeah, it was done with 5 colors, but it was a gradient shawl. I had chose Holskarn's Coast, which is a wool cotton blend, and it's a fine. It's a very fine yarn. It's not lace, but it's just above lace, number 2 maybe. I mean, it's worked with 3.25 millimeter needles, and there is a lot of cabling on this particular shawl, but it's absolutely stunning. So this is on my future difficult. This is one of the patterns that I only do when I'm at home. I don't take anywhere because I do have to concentrate so much, and only when I'm sitting in my craft room can I work on something that complex, like some of the other patterns. I mean, the Funny Bay shawl I can take anywhere because it's just it's 19 rows repeat, but it's a fairly easy one. My cuffed cable sweater, I can do it if I'm sitting someplace and not totally interrupted. But my Tunisian crochet shawl that I'm doing for the test, I only do that at home, just because it is a test. I need to do the pattern justice and give it my full attention. So that was something else. I have another WIP. I said I wasn't going to cast anything or put anything on my needles until I got some of these done. But I was come up on my feed. Ruby Steadman come up with this poncho, and I saw it, and I was just sitting here in the car food, and I'm looking up my car, and I thought, oh, someone had spin right yarn. I got the 50 cent a skein deal. I think it was Patton's Upland in the dark moor color. Well, I cast it on, and actually it's pretty easy. This is the poncho. Yeah, there's 3 stitches she uses. There's this one here. There's this one here. There is no pattern. She just has tutorials. But something new she started was she starts putting what she's doing, across the screen. So you just write it down and you can work on it without having to watch all the tutorials. This is the first stitch, if you can see it. Now, let me see if I can see how good you can see this. But that is the first section. It's a really easy stitch. I'm into stitch 2, which is the body of the poncho, and then the last set stitches is a 2x2 rib for the neck. I'll put this on the link below. So, and this is mindless really to work on this here, and it's on. You use 2 sets of needles. These are 8mm, size 11, and the whole shawl, with the exception of the ribbing, is done with this, and the ribbing's done in 7mm. I didn't have 7mm, so I'm using 6.5. And I'll put this all. She has a tutorial that she does for it, really easy. And the yarn that I'm using is the Patton's Uplands shawl. Excuse me, Patton Uplands. I'll read you the information on it. 3.2 ounces, 90 grams, approximately 99 yards. It's a 50-50 blend of wool acrylic, 6.5mm knitting needle, 6.5mm crochet hook. This is a roving yarn. Now for her pattern, she calls approximately 600 yards. Approximately. In hers, she used Charisma. So it's like a 5 bulky. But this yarn is a roving. And I'll tell you, some of it goes from a 2 up to a 6. I mean, it's really roving. But it's a nice yarn. It's, as Crystal would say, scarfable. But I'm going to wet block it and see how it comes out. But I have this is one I ordered 30 of these because they were 50 cents a skein. They come in a bag of 6. So you figure 6 of these, $3. I've made my poncho. So that was my new cast on. Another thing that I had, with the exception of my void shawl that I'm working on, that I had been working on, is I am in the final stages of the elf coat for the skirt. this is the last pointed panel, wedge panel. Okay. Now, little story here. I just happened to be, I was looking at my Instagram feed that we get messages for the pattern test that I'm doing. And one of the girls had put, yay, all I have to do is cast off and weave in ends. I'm thinking to myself, cast off? You know, I'm self-taught Tunisian. Guess I didn't watch enough videos. There is a cast off in Tunisian that finishes the panel. Remember I had all those panels done? This big pile here of panels I showed you? I had to go back, reattach the yarn, and cast off every one of the panels. And I'll show you. Yeah, I cast off because now it's finished. And all it basically is a single crochet that you cast off with. You just go through, grab, pull through, pull through. So these are all finished, but I had to go and do all of these panels. I had to go and fix them all. But it didn't take long. I did it in the morning. I actually took it with me, and I had some downtime at a client's. So I got all, this was the stack of the, what they call the simple straight panel. Got them all done. I just can't believe I did that. I felt like a total idiot. But hey, it happens. And then I went back and I finished off the wedge panel. Yes, Tunisian likes to curl. I finished off the wedge panel. And it's in a big point. There's 82 rows on each panel. So, I'm finishing up that last skein. I think I'm going to have to try and do a steam block to try to put these together to make it look nicer. Because I had assembled some of them to see how it looked, and I didn't like the join that I used. But, so hopefully by the next video, I'll be able to have the skirt and show you how the skirt looks. I know you're probably sick of seeing this, but I am proud of this particular project because it was the first Tunisian crochet I've ever done, and I picked a very large project to do. But the yarn makes it so fun to do, the colors, the way it works up, and Regina's patterns are awesome. I had done her Lotus Mandala. She's, I think, all crochet. I don't think she knits, but Tunisian crochet and crochet. I might be wrong. I'll have to check it out. But, and then when I got my new, I did a video, you saw my new Denise interchangeable hooks. Oh, they're really nice to work with. In fact, I just ordered a set of the longer cables. Instead of me having to join all these little cables, I just ordered a set of the long cables for projects like this that require a lot of stitches, or the shawl that I'm doing. So they'll get here whenever they get here. But so if you're tired of hearing about my elf coat, leave me a comment and I won't show it till it's finished, or almost finished. But that's done. So, and you guys already know the yarn that I'm using, the King Cole, DK Ride, and Water Lily, and all that good stuff. But I wanted to show some patterns, but I'll do that in another video because I don't want this to be too long. Oh yeah, hold on a second here. I wanted to show you. This is the box for my granddaughter that I'm sending to her. I finished her two. You remember I showed you these, okay? The leg warmers. Well, I did a scrunchie. It's knitted. And then a bun cover for her ballet bun. So I'm going to send that to her for her birthday. I'm going to be 2 months late. So I'm going to mail that out tomorrow. And I'm hoping she likes it. I know she loves her dance, but that was another finished object. I got this, and the scrunchies are so, I mean, the set of 4 I have, there's a cable, I mean a 2x2 rib. Sorry about the noise there, it's paper. There's a 2x2 rib one. There is stockinette. There is a moss stitch one, and then an all garter stitch one. So I save all my boxes when I get things in, because that's perfect for shipping. And everything's nice and tight in here, and won't cost me a fortune. I mean, shipping from Canada is expensive anyways, no matter, even a little box. I sent her a box about this size, but it was just about that high last year for her birthday, and it was $24 to send to the States. And that doesn't even come with tracking. So, see what else did. I think that was all I pretty much had on whips and bows and patterns. The pattern release, the Christmas in July fairies. I uploaded the video chat. There is one more thing we are going to do today, though. If you remember, I had talked to you about the Deer Island Times, which is now known as the Fundy Times. And I thought I would show you a few pictures and read you a little something. This is the very first issue. And if you look here on this, those are our actual fishermen's lobster boats. And this is the Lord's Cove Wharf. And if you look here, you always hear me calling it the masterpiece of the province. That's what Deer Island's known as. Masterpiece of the province. And the welcome page to this says, "Welcome to Deer Island, to the very first issue. A brand new periodical magazine exclusive to the island. Our goal is to showcase island life and history via news, articles, features, and remastered old photographs." So you will see some original old photographs. And the young man's, this is his brainchild, right here, is Tanner Reish. And he has a YouTube channel and a bunch of other things. I'll put his information, because he's a very, very talented young man. In this one here, there was an article a couple of years ago. We had a huge fire. This was from July 2018. We had a huge fire at Patriel's, which was our lobster processing plant and a very big employer on the island. And in the end, it was a total loss. We lost the whole building. There was an article about that in here. And there was one about the new ferry. Then there's the section called Looking Back. Okay? And it goes, these are photos, thousands of stories, what's in a name, stomps at the Mayfair Hall, a look back in time, articles, and a look back in time is articles by Betty Kamick and Sterling Lambert. And if you remember, Sterling Lambert is the author of the Tales from a Small Island that I read to you. Then it's got a features mix section that is the Islander Spotlight, which will concentrate on one resident of the island and a little bit about them. Paranormal activity, that could be interesting. Mainland misconceptions. I think that's what I'm going to read today, is the mainland misconceptions. Because so many people have misconceptions about living on Deer Island. And yeah. Excuse me. By the way, there's a picture of my store I had. Right now it is now a storage building, but I did have the store. It's called Welch Store. It had been that way for a long time. Let's see here. Paranormal activity. Maybe that's where we'll read from. Paranormal activity. Deer Island Times highlights some creepy things that have happened right here on the island that leave many unanswered questions. Okay. Let's see, we have the Shadow of Death, the Voice of the Harbor, Out of Gas. I think I'm going to read Shadow of Death. Just sounds too creepy. I think I'm going to read The Voice of the Harbor. That's this one right here. The main industry on Deer Island is fishing, be it wares, and it's pronounced where, like where did you go, and that is where they catch herring that they use for bait. Or lobster traps. Dozens of fishing boats often scour the water surface in search of the biggest and finest. Most often, these fishing boats leave around 5 or 6 in the morning and end up fishing well into the day. The earlier you fish, the greater your chances, and if you have nowhere, you beat the competition, before they even awake. However, some must go by the tides, and when the fish run, so you may catch some boats out amongst the sunset working away. I spoke with a gentleman about a fishing encounter his father had while out one evening carrying out their duties. It was really quite shocking. My father and his brother had built their weir on Northern Harbor. On this day they had to go out and check for herring in the evening. There was no wind and the water was calm, but the fog was thick. He began to tell me, setting the tone just so. To these two gentlemen's surprise, they could hear talking amidst the layers of fog, but they could not make out what was being said. This was before the portable radio came into invention. The United States shore was a mile or so away, and St. Andrews was 12 miles away. There was no sound of a motor running or people rowing their boats through the icy bay of Fundy water. So, to try and find out who it was, the two men quietly rowed out to the ledge in the middle of the harbor. But they still could not determine where the talking was coming from. They never knew. I don't know if it was a supernatural experience or merely people on a boat hidden in the fog drifting quietly, but this story is quite mysterious and even, perhaps, a little creepy. So that is your first excerpt from the Deer Island Times, and that was from the first volume. So I will be, reading more from here and showing more pictures. I mean, they've got, we had something, this is the featured photo for this one, was called the Chocolate Cove Playhouse. They used to have a little playhouse that they had summer stock theater, and that was it here. This was the Chocolate Cove Playhouse. Nothing remains of the building, but in its heyday, it said the playhouse was a must for visitors attending Deer Island. So that's more of what you'll be able to look forward to, whether it's on one of my island chats or one of my craft room chats. We'll be exploring these 3 issues, and I'm waiting for the next issue. I still have to get the special Christmas issue. I have to call him and get a copy of that one, because I have bought all that he's had. So that will be another feature of my video. I'm compiling a couple more lists for shout-outs, and I usually do those, during my island chats. So I do believe with this that I'm going to close this video out, because I still have more work to do tonight to try and get this pattern up on Ravelry and work on the tutorial. Like I said, I wanted the tutorial to be ready the same day that this pattern was ready to release, but it's a little bit more involved than just videotaping and popping it up on the internet. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Check out the channels or patterns that I mentioned in the description box. You might find it might be something that you might enjoy doing. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you that comes and spends time with me. Even though I'm just talking to my camera, I feel like I'm talking to you. And oh, by the way, no interruptions, because I have a sign up on my door, recording. Please knock. So if you see me make a face, and I mean somebody popped in, but so far today nobody has. This, like I said, this is my 3rd video. And I'm after this, I'm going to be doing another one. So have a wonderful week, and I'll have a video posted at the end of the week on this week's weekly chat. Participate in the hashtag Christmas in July Fairies. The links will all be in the description box below. And there's times I go back and I edit to add more links that I've missed. So until next time, here's my smile to you. You smile on to your next, and they smile, and they smile, and they smile. The world's a better place, especially in this crazy world we're having today, but no discussion of politics, no discussion of any of the craziness going on. I'm done. And my heart is full with all of the wonderful comments I get from everybody. Thank you. You humble me. And we're coming up on a year this August. It's going to be a year in August that we've been doing this. Wow. And it has been an adventure, and I hope the adventure continues. I would love to do a few more picture videos with music of just the island, but that takes a while, going through pictures and uploading them and putting the music right, and I'm still learning on that process. But I'll quit yammering, and I'll say good night, God bless, come visit me again, and here's signing off from Deer Island, New Brunswick. Take care.